Heather, you came to me, it was about 2.5 months ago, and very distraught and very frustrated. Tell me a little bit about what was going on.
So I had tingling and some numbness and pain in my arms and my legs, and going to chiropractic for scoliosis. After a year of therapy, it was decided I should probably do an MRI and potentially have surgery in my cervical vertebra.
Because of this tingling, and how did you feel about this tingling? I mean, what did that concern you, or?
It concerned me. I lived with it for over a year.
Okay.
And it just kept getting worse.
And energy-wise, brain focus, concentration, I mean, other things that you were dealing with?
Absolutely. Brain fog, exhausted, on the couch, and not really sure what direction I needed to go. Really confused about the type of therapy. That wasn't an avenue I wanted to go.
And where are you at now? I mean, how are you feeling now?
Yeah, I'd say I'm at a 10.
That's good.
I think I was at a -5 before, and I'm at a 10 now. I have no tingling. Before it was tingling in my left leg, both of my arms, and now I have no tingling. My legs are fine, and I just have a funny sensation left in my hand, and that's all.
That's it.
And
Yeah.
that's all.
Yeah.
And having scoliosis, knowing about it for 30 years, you're always very mindful of your posture, you're mindful of what you eat, you're mindful of your health, to try and stay ahead of it. And you worry about it getting worse, and then 30 years later when you find out maybe it is getting worse, and that might be your future, having surgery, that's beyond scary.
Yeah, yeah.
And I had a turnaround in 3 months.
That's pretty cool.
That's way cool.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And energy, focus-wise, I mean, where do you feel you're at there?
I feel I'm at a 10.
At a 10?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm at a 10. I went from not being able to form a thought and not being able to get off the couch to summiting the Grand Teton last week.
That's what you did last week?
13,775 feet. I had to suck a lot of oxygen,
Uh-huh.
and you can't do that in a state where you're laying on the couch.
No.
No, you brought me back to life, that's for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. That's so
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
And we also had, if you don't mind sharing, a number of years ago, we had an incident in regards to your son.
Mhm.
Do you mind kind of telling a little bit about what happened with him?
Yes, I try to make it brief. My son was in college and he was studying to be an engineer, so he was soldering for computer motherboards, and we noticed that his communication started to taper off. His personality changed, and he ended up moving back home. And long story short, I went in to talk to him about something, and he was sitting on his bed staring at a wall, unable to form a word, and he couldn't speak to us. He had his eye bouncing up and down, and he was just rocking back and forth in an autistic state. So we went to some medical doctors, and they said he's just depressed. And I asked, why is he depressed? And they said, this is just what happens with college students. They get depressed over things. And I said, I'd like to test for heavy metals. He works with lead, and I was told told that would be a 2.5-year ordeal to get him cleaned out if that was the problem. And do I really want to go down that road? And I said, absolutely, I do. And they said, well, let's try some other things, and put me off. And I said, I have a different path to follow, and it's not here, so thanks for your time. And I found you. He found you. And I remember the first visit we had with you. Your complete professional expertise gave me confidence. That we had a plan, and that we were on the right path, and we tested for heavy metals. And he came up toxic lead, and we chelated him, and it didn't take 2.5 years. It took 3 months.
Yeah.
Like me. It took 3 months. And he went from not being able to look you in the eye, not being able to talk, not being able to function. He wasn't in school anymore. He was without a job. In 3 months, he had a job, and he was back in school in a couple months, and he was telling jokes. He was no longer in this autistic state, lost in his own little world. And at 21 or 22, I think he was 22, that's a big deal to get your son's life back. He's right at the beginning, and
has his whole life ahead of him.
He has his whole life ahead of him, and I get emotional because there's no words, even though I'm not in that state. There's no words to say thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
There never will be.
Thank you.
Yeah, we got him back.
Oh.
And so that was why I came.
Yeah.
Yeah, thinking that, well, maybe there's something that you can do for me with all this tingling.
Mm-hmm. And what's your chiropractor saying now?
Now he's saying, wow, Heather, I'm actually really hopeful. And I'm excited to retake x-rays in 6 months, because I think that your curve is going to be gone. And I've lived with this for 30 years.
Yeah.
30 years of adjustments, and they just don't do any difference. And so you just go to maintain, if you have any pain or until you get to my point where you have tingling and you know something's going on. And yeah, so in 6 months, we're gonna retake x-rays.
How cool.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited.
Mm-hmm. I'm really excited too.
Well, thank you so much.
You're